You know, usually when we talk about a major sports milestone, there is this expectation of just pure, unadulterated celebration.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like everyone cheering?
Exactly. You picture the countdown, the ticker tape, the champagne waiting on ice. It is supposed to be the absolute pinnacle of a person's life.
It's supposed to be a moment where the whole world is just, entirely in your corner.
But then you look at the spring of 1974, and the sports editor of the Atlanta Journal, this guy named Louis Grizzard, was quietly having an obituary prepared for a 39-year-old baseball player.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't because this player was sick, right? It was because he was about to break the most hallowed record in American sports, Babe Ruth's career home run record.
Yeah.
And the editor of a major newspaper was terrified this player would be murdered before he could even swing the bat.
I mean, it is the definition of a historical tragedy wrapped inside a triumph. The pressure on him wasn't just, athletic pressure. It was literally a matter of physical survival.
Well, welcome to this deep dive for PillPod. Today, we are stepping onto the diamond to explore the life and the immense legacy of Henry Louis Aaron.
Hank Aaron.
Right. Everyone knows him as the man who hit 755 home runs. But to get beyond the back of the baseball card, we are pulling from a really rich stack of sources for you today. We've got contemporary 1970s newspaper clippings, Major League Baseball statistical databases, and deeply personal excerpts from his own autobiography.
It's a lot of great material.
It is. And the goal today is to show you that his true story isn't just about the long ball. It's about unbelievable consistency, quiet dignity, and honestly bearing the weight of a nation's ugly racism with just incredible grace.
Yeah, we are looking at a man whose career was basically a blueprint for excellence under the most extreme duress imaginable.
So let's start at the beginning. Picture yourself as a kid in the late 1930s growing up in a section of Mobile, Alabama.
Tolmanville, right?
Right, Tolmanville. His father, Herbert Sr., is a shipyard riveter. And this is a family that is profoundly poor. They cannot afford basic baseball equipment. So what do you do if you are obsessed with the game?
You improvise.
Exactly. He hits bottle caps with sticks. He is literally making his own bats and balls out of materials he finds on the streets. But I want to stop here for a second because we see this sort of poor kid makes good trope a lot.
Yeah, the classic underdog story.
Right. But did hitting bottle caps actually change his physical approach to the game? Or is it just a nice story?
Oh, no, it fundamentally built the mechanics of his swing. I mean, think about the physics of it.
Okay.
If you throw a baseball, it has a relatively predictable trajectory. But if you throw a little metal bottle cap, it darts and dips erratically through the air.
Oh, because of the shape, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you are trying to hit that tiny darting object with a thin broomstick, your hand-eye coordination has to develop to this superhuman level.
Wow.
It forces a visual precision that a standard ball and bat simply wouldn't require of a young player.
That makes a lot of sense. And, reading through the sources, there is this other detail about his early swing that completely threw me.
The cross-handed grip.
Yes. When he starts playing in organized leagues, he bats cross-handed. Now, for a right-handed hitter, that means his left hand is above his right on the bat.
Yeah.
How does a batter even generate power like that? It seems completely backward.
Well, it is completely backward. I mean, any Little League coach today would stop that immediately.
Right.
Because when you hit cross-handed, you lock your elbows and you severely restrict your swing path. You basically lose all your natural leverage.
Yet he was still such a massive power hitter that he secured a tryout with the Brooklyn Dodgers at age 15.
Which is insane.
It's crazy. He didn't make the team, obviously, but the raw talent was clearly there. So how did he finally fix the swing?
Well, that is the crucial part. He eventually joins the Indianapolis Clowns in the Negro American League. This is in 1951.
Okay.
And a scout notices this bizarre cross-handed grip and simply tells him to flip his hands to the standard position.
Just like that.
Just like that. And because Aaron had spent years swinging a heavy bat with restricted leverage, his wrists had developed this incredible coiled strength to compensate.
Oh, I see.
So the moment he flipped his hands, his swing path opened up, and all that built-up wrist strength was just unleashed.
That is fascinating. He essentially swung with training weights on for his entire childhood.
Exactly.
And once his swing is fixed, he starts playing so exceptionally well for the Clowns that he catches the attention of the major leagues. He is earning $200 a month at this point, and this leads to what has to be one of the greatest sliding doors moments in sports history.
Oh, without a doubt.
Ah.
He receives 2 telegram offers. One is from the New York Giants, and the other is from the Boston Braves.
And he actually had the Giants contract in his hand,
Yeah,
but the Braves offered him exactly $50 a month more.
$50.
Wait, so for the price of a decent dinner today, we missed out on Willie Mays and Hank Aaron playing in the exact same outfield for the Giants.
I know, it's wild. Aaron himself confirmed this. That $50 difference was the only thing that kept him and Willie Mays from being teammates.
That is just, I can't even fathom that.
Just imagine the sheer dominance the Giants would have had with the two greatest outfielders of their generation in the exact same lineup. The whole geometry of baseball history shifted entirely over $50.
It's unbelievable. But, playing professional ball in the early 1950s wasn't just about contract offers and telegrams. It meant confronting a deeply segregated America head-on.
Yeah, it was brutal.
There is a story from his time with the Klans in Washington, D.C. that is just visceral.
Right, the restaurant story. The Clowns were in D.C., and they had breakfast at a restaurant behind Griffith Stadium, basically just waiting for the rain to stop.
Yeah.
And after they finished eating, they could hear the kitchen staff physically smashing every single plate the black players had just used.
He recalled the horrible sound of it. And the bitter irony wasn't lost on him, even as a teenager. I mean, this is happening in the nation's capital.
The land of freedom and equality, supposedly.
Right. And he noted that if dogs had eaten off those plates, the staff would have washed them. But because black men used them, they had to be destroyed.
It was just a stark reminder of the psychological violence of Jim Crow. And this was the reality he had to navigate while trying to, just focus on hitting a baseball.
And that reality followed him as he moved into the Braves minor league system, which actually brings up a piece of the research I want to challenge a bit.
Okay, what's that?
So the sources mention his time playing winter ball in Puerto Rico. The Korean War was over, but the draft was still active. And the Braves actually convinced the draft board not to take him.
Right.
Their public reasoning was that he was needed to integrate the Southern Association with a team called the Atlanta Crackers.
Yeah, that was the claim.
So was that really the Braves taking a moral stand for civil rights? Or were they just protecting a financial asset to tap into a new demographic?
That is the exact tension we really have to look at. And it was almost certainly the latter.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I mean, the Braves saw him as a pioneer, yes, but primarily as a highly valuable asset to break a color barrier in a specific lucrative market. It really highlights the immense non-athletic burdens placed on players of color at the time.
Because they weren't just playing a sport.
Exactly. They were acting as commercial instruments for integration.
Which brought intense isolation. I mean, when he played for the Jacksonville Braves, he was often completely separated from his team due to local segregation laws.
Yeah, he couldn't stay with them.
Right. The team arranged housing and meals for the white players, but he was left to make his own arrangements. So you were expected to perform at an elite level to be the star, while simultaneously being treated as a second-class citizen the literal moment you step off the field.
He did have a major support system in his manager, Ben Garrity, who stood by him during that really lonely time. But the isolation itself is a crucible. It forces a person to turn inward.
And that inward nature leads perfectly to a PR detail I noticed in the autobiography excerpts.
The name change.
Yes. To his family and friends, he was always Henry. He refers to himself as Henry. But when he gets to the majors, a Braves public relations director named Don Davidson pushed the nickname Hank.
Yeah.
Why did the team feel the need to rebrand him like that? Was it just regular baseball PR?
Not really.
Huh?
It is a subtle form of code switching imposed from the outside. In the fraught racial dynamics of the 1950s South, a quiet, serious black man named Henry could be perceived by white audiences as intimidating or, aloof. Hank, on the other hand, sounds friendly. It sounds folksy.
Like a guy you'd grab a beer with.
Exactly. They were actively managing his image to ensure he was palatable to a predominantly white fan base.
That's so manipulative. But despite all this external pressure, his arrival in the majors was swift and, honestly, somewhat accidental.
Very accidental. In spring training of 1954, the Braves left fielder, Bobby Thompson, fractured his ankle sliding into second base.
Ouch.
Yeah, and that injury created an immediate opening.
And the very next day, Henry makes his first spring training start and hits a home run. Just steps right in. He gets a major league contract.
Right.
At first, he wore number 5. But after breaking his own ankle late in his rookie year, he switches to a number that would become absolute magic for him, 44.
The symmetry of that number in his life is honestly a little eerie.
How so?
Well, he would go on to hit exactly 44 home runs in 4 different seasons.
No way.
Yeah. And eventually, the pitcher he hit, His record-breaking 715th home run off of Al Downing also wore number 44.
That is wild. Well, let's look at the stats because this is where his legacy gets almost incomprehensible. You might assume a player with 755 career home runs was swinging out of his shoes every single at-bat, just muscling the ball over the fence.
Sure, like a typical slugger.
Right, but he never hit 50 home runs in a single season, not once. How does someone break the all-time home run record without ever having a monolithic 50 home run year?
Well, it goes back to what we discussed about his wrists. He wasn't a massive, muscle-bound guy. He generated power through an incredibly compact swing and just lightning-fast wrist action.
Okay.
This allowed him to wait on the pitch longer than almost anyone else, recognize the spin, and still have the bat speed to drive it out of the park.
So he didn't have to guess as much.
Exactly. And because his swing was so efficient and compact, it didn't break down physically. It made him incredibly durable. So while he never hit 50 in a single season, he hit 24 or more home runs every single year for 19 straight years.
You know, it makes me think of compound interest in finance.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, he wasn't the guy hitting the lottery with a giant, flashy 60 home run season. He was the guy quietly depositing 30 to 40 home runs into the bank year after year for almost 2 decades. It's like a glacier.
Yeah.
Just this steady, unstoppable force.
That is the perfect way to look at it. It requires a physical durability and, honestly, a mental discipline that is vanishingly rare.
And I read a stat in the MLB database sources that proves this point beautifully. If you erased every single one of his 755 career home runs, just completely removed them from his record, he would still have over 3,000 career hits.
It completely reframes how we should view him.
It really does.
He wasn't just a home run hitter. He was one of the purest, most technically gifted hitters to ever pick up a bat. I mean, he holds the MLB records for total bases, extra base hits, and runs batted in.
Just incredible.
He led the league in batting average twice, and he was a 3-time Gold Glove winner, meaning he was recognized as the absolute best defensive player at his position in the outfield.
But amidst all this professional triumph, the sources also detail profound personal heartbreak.
Yeah, they do.
In 1957, he has an absolute dream season. He wins the MVP, he hits a walk-off home run to clinch the pennant, securing the league championship for the Braves, and he goes on to hit .393 in the World Series to beat the Yankees.
He is literally on top of the world.
Right. And then, in December of that same year, his wife Barbara gives birth to twins. 2 days later, one of the babies dies.
It is a devastating juxtaposition, and it really speaks to the stoicism that came to define him. He absorbed immense pain, both personal and societal, and processed it privately while continuing to perform publicly at a historic level.
And this quiet, relentless, year-by-year accumulation of numbers was eventually going to put him on a collision course with a ghost, Babe Ruth.
Yeah, the big one.
As the early 1970s roll around and he gets closer and closer to Ruth's record of 714 home runs, the national media grows completely obsessed. But more than that, a very dark underbelly of America is exposed.
Right. What should have been a celebration of athletic longevity became this terrifying referendum on race in America.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth was more than a baseball player. He was a mythological figure for white America. And a large segment of the country simply could not stomach the idea of a black man erasing his name from the top of the record books.
The sheer volume of the vitriol he faced is staggering. The sources note he received 930,000 pieces of mail. The U.S. Postal Service actually gave him a plaque because he received more mail than anyone in the country besides politicians.
It's hard to even picture that much mail.
And a massive portion of that was hate mail, filled with racial slurs and death threats. It got so bad, the Braves had to hire a secretary just to sort through the hate. How does a person even step into the batter's box under those conditions?
The psychological toll must have been suffocating. I mean, every time he stepped to the plate, he wasn't just trying to read a pitcher's curveball. He was trying to survive a hostile environment that was actively threatening his life.
Man.
He later said he felt like a pig in a slaughterhouse.
Man. But I do want to bring in the other side of the mailbag, because there was significant public support, too.
Yes, definitely.
Charles Schulz, the creator of Peanuts, drew a series of comic strips where Snoopy is chasing the record, and Lucy tells him it'll be a disgrace if he breaks it, which was Schulz openly mocking the bigots.
Which is great.
And crucially, Babe Ruth's own widow, Claire, publicly denounced the racism and stated her husband would have enthusiastically cheered Aaron on.
That countersport was vital, but, it didn't erase the very real danger. The 1973 season ended with him sitting at 713 home runs, just one shy of the record.
Oh, the timing.
Yeah, he had to wait an entire winter stewing in that tension. He later said his only fear that off-season was that he might not live to see the 1974 season.
A sports record should never make a man fear for his actual life, but he survived the winter. And the pressure cooker is at its absolute peak as the 1974 season begins.
Even the start of the season was mired in controversy.
How so?
Well, the Braves wanted to hold him out of the opening series in Cincinnati so he could break the record in front of his home fans in Atlanta.
That makes sense.
But the commissioner of baseball forced them to play him, so he ends up tying the record at 714 on his very first swing of the season in Cincinnati.
Wow. Which sets the stage for the Braves returning to Atlanta, April 8, 1974. A record crowd of over 53,000 people. Fourth inning, Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Al Downing is on the mound.
The guy wearing number 44.
Exactly. Downing throws, Aaron swings, and the ball flies into the Braves' bullpen in left center field.
The broadcasters understood exactly what they were watching, too. Milo Hamilton's voice actually cracked as he yelled that there was a new home run champion of all time.
Right.
And then Vin Scully, broadcasting for the Dodgers, captured the historical weight perfectly. He noted the profound significance of a black man getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking the record of an all-time white baseball idol.
But as he is rounding the bases, the scene is just pure chaos. Cannons are firing. Two college kids jump the fence and run alongside him around second base, which, given the death threats, temporarily startled him. And as he rounds third and heads for home, his parents rush the field. His mother grabs him at home plate and hugs him incredibly tight. Aaron thought she was just overwhelmed with pride, but he later learned the real reason for that embrace.
Yeah, this part is so heavy. His mother threw her arms around him and held him as tight as she could because she believed that if she wrapped her body around his, no sniper in the stands would be able to shoot him.
Just let that sink in for a second. Imagine the terror in that moment, a moment of ultimate athletic triumph, the pinnacle of a career. And it is simultaneously a moment of sheer protective parental terror. She was using her own body as a shield.
It really encapsulates the dual reality Henry Aaron lived in. The glory and the threat were completely inseparable.
He survived the chase, though. He broke the record. And he played out his late career, traded back to Milwaukee with the Brewers, finally retiring with 755 home runs. He transitioned into a front office executive role with the Braves, becoming one of the first minority executives in upper-level Major League Baseball management. And he lived to see a day when his own sacred number 755 was challenged.
Right, so we jump forward to 2007. Barry Bonds is closing in on the 755 record. But the context is entirely different.
Because of the steroids.
Exactly. There is widespread belief that Bonds was using performance-enhancing drugs. It was a deeply controversial chase.
And Aaron declined to attend the games in person as Bonds got close. A lot of people assumed this was a snub, like that he was making a moral statement about the steroid era. But was he really just angry about the controversy?
Not entirely, no.
Huh.
Aaron had always downplayed his own record-breaking of Babe Ruth. He fundamentally believed that baseball was about playing to the absolute best of your potential, day in and day out.
Right.
It wasn't just about holding on to records for the sake of ego.
And he showed nothing but class. When Bonds finally hit number 756 in San Francisco, Aaron appeared in a surprise, pre-recorded video message on the Jumbotron. He congratulated Bonds on the skill and longevity it required, and he ended by saying his hope was that this new record would inspire others to chase their own dreams.
He didn't let the noise or the controversy of the era drag him down. He acknowledged the achievement and gracefully stepped aside, just as he had hoped people would do for him 33 years earlier.
Henry Aaron's legacy isn't just about a perfectly coiled swing that generated 755 home runs. It's about a man who faced the absolute worst of American hatred and responded with the absolute best of human dignity.
His endurance is his greatest record. Not the total bases, not the home runs. The fact that he carried all of that hostility and never let it break his spirit or his focus.
I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Throughout all of this, the media hurricane, the racism, the pressure, Henry Aaron was a man of deep, quiet faith.
Yeah, he converted to Catholicism in 1959.
Right, and the sources note that he kept a copy of the 15th century devotional book, The Imitation of Christ, right in his locker. He read it frequently. Next time you see an athlete breaking a record, bathed in flash bulbs and adulation, consider what invisible weights they might be carrying in their own life, and then ask yourself, could any of us carry those weights with even a fraction of the grace of Hammer and Hank?